First of all, if you want young men and women off the corners, right, you want them away from crime, if you want them to be contributing and working members of society, they need skills to get good jobs and training, right? Is that a partisan view? No government program is perfect. But even with its imperfections, a bipartisan group of people is now coming forward to say Job Corps is worth saving. Now, Job Corps provides training and housing to tens of thousands of young people. The Trump administration insists it does not want to shut it down entirely. Only Congress can do that. But the Trump administration does want to wind it down and move to close 99 campuses connected to the program. I want you to watch here Labor Secretary Lori Chavez-DeRemer. She's at a congressional hearing this week explaining why they want to pause their characterization, Job Corps.
This program is failing to deliver safe and successful outcomes our young people deserve. At the same time, it costs an average of almost $20,000 more per year for a student to attend Job Corps than it does for a student to attend Harvard. Our nation's vulnerable young adults deserve better, and I am committed with all of you to achieving the safest and most successful outcomes possible. I want the best for this population because we need the skilled workforce and they deserve it. And they deserve Congress and the Department of Labor and every other agency head to work on this issue.
So right now, the pause itself is on pause. A federal court temporarily blocked the feds from doing anything until a hearing later this month. But that's no comfort for the people who are facing this uncertainty about what this means for them. The program students and alumni, there are many different types of people. But what they have in common is their lack of income and lack of opportunity. It is worth hearing from them, not me. I want you to hear from them about what it means to now have their lives on hold. They're in communities across the country, and let's start in San Bernardino, California.
They're asking if they can come home, and the situations are just not possible for some of these students and for some of the parents that also themselves might need resources. The students that did leave, we're hearing that they're reaching out to community services and that they're struggling.
Society, just gave up on people in my situation.
Let's go to Phoenix now, where we heard about the role of Job Corps as a lifeline.
When I first came to Job Corps, I had nothing. I had nothing but a trash bag of clothes with me. That's all I had. That's the only opportunity these kids has ever received in life, and now it's getting taken from them. It's going to affect everyone because now these kids are going to go back to broken homes. They're going to go back to violence.
Hawaii, where we heard about how the program is a way to find a career.
For this, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't really have a set plan, but Job Corps provided so many opportunities, skilled training.
I had the opportunity to finish, but to those other people, future generations, and all the other students that can't, that is just devastating.
Fargo, North Dakota, where we heard about what it was like to now suddenly have your life upended.
Literally learning on Friday I'm going to lose my job sometime this week, and then learning literally today is the day. That gives me 2 days to figure out my entire life and figure out how to provide for my whole family. I don't disagree with a couple of the events, but the way things have been carried out, the plans of action, and the lack of help for those just affected, that's what's really affected me.
Atlanta, we heard about how this limbo affects students long term.
This is beyond devastation. This is reinforcing trauma that some of these students have been working to overcome.
Cedro Woolley, Washington, we heard about how success, even with the extra hand, takes work.
They've worked so hard to get to where they're at. And they're losing it all. It's really sad.
Clearfield, Utah. We heard about how it'll take even more work to succeed if the program gets gutted.
You know, a lot of people, they don't really find what their purpose is in life until they have to, they hit rock bottom and they have to get it. That's what it is for a lot of us right now. We're at the bottom, now it's time to get after it.
The National Job Corps Association took legal action this week to stop the closures. Donna Hay is the group's president and CEO. Thank you for coming in. And your lawsuit is in part why there is now this pause on the program. Let me start here. 2023. And the Job Corps Association named then Congresswoman Chavez DeRemer a Job Corps champion. And here you are in a photo with her. And she posted, "I'll continue doing my part to expand education and career training opportunities for students." That was 18 months ago. What happened?
Well, we understand that this administration has a priority in terms of ensuring that there is efficient and effective usage of the taxpayer dollars. And I don't know that there are many people that would disagree with that. And I think that it's really just a matter of understanding how that's done. Right, what the decisions are and how informed they are in making that decision. And so our interactions with Congresswoman DeRemer throughout her time have shown that she is and has been dedicated to the student population, and that currently there are opportunities for us to align with her, and we're looking forward to working with his administration to really show and demonstrate the ways that Job Corps not only aligns with but supports the economic priorities currently at place.
Let me play more from this hearing on the House committee this week.
I want to be clear, the decision was not to eliminate Job Corps. Only Congress can eliminate Job Corps.
I appreciate that, and I'm going to follow up on that. But I need to know what role DOJ had in this report, this Job Corps transparency report.
The Department of Labor does have the delegation and authority to halt those center contracts, including program operations for Job Corps.
What role did DOJ have?
I know.
Sorry, Madam Secretary. I just want an answer. What role did DOJ have in that report?
Thank you, Congresswoman. Based on what you just said in the last statement about the TRO that was given last night, it actually gives me great pause that I cannot discuss the details.
But did DOJ write the report, is my question.
The Department of Labor, the government efficiency employees are Department of Labor employees. So if you're asking me about DOJ is in Department of Labor, yes, they're in every agency.
And did they participate in writing that report?
Yeah, we were together and working with that report.
It took a while, but she got there about the role of DOJ there. Is this primarily a DOJ pause, as they call it, or is this a political partisan element? Because we know that President Trump wanted to shut down Job Corps in 2017. What's your view?
Our view is that regardless of what the impetus is, we're focused on the impact on the tens of thousands of students who are in limbo at this time. Regardless of any other factor external to what is causing the situation, the fact of the matter is we have 20% of those students, thousands of students who are formerly homeless or in foster care and literally have no home to which to return.
And so where do they go now if they can't stay at these the housing, the residential programs?
Well, over the past week, what we saw was that those who operate those campuses were very intent on trying to find alternative shelters and opportunities for those students to be housed. But the fact of the matter is that's hard to do on a short-term basis. And so it really did create a situation, and you saw some of the students speak to that, where in some cases they sent students home to those who did have a home and found that they were put out the next day and were again homeless. And so really what it focuses on now in terms of looking forward is that with a temporary restraining order in place, it's an opportunity for us to continue conversations with the administration about ways that we can collaborate in looking at reform, removing unnecessary types of regulations that have encumbered the program.
Well, let's talk about some of the challenges that they highlight. The Department of Labor put out this, as they call it, transparency report, in which they say that the graduation rate average is 38.6%, far behind four-year colleges, four-year high school, North American trade schools. Average cost per student, $80,000. And they highlight 14,000 serious infractions, but 372 of sexual behavior, sexual assaults, 1,764 acts of violence reported, reported drug use, 2,700, hospital visits, 1,800. That's in the 2023 year. So what do you say to those numbers, that if you got 3 out of 5 who aren't making it through the program, is the program not living up to the promise?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad you cite the year, because context is incredibly important. That data looks specifically at post-COVID numbers that are not reflective of where the program currently is. Prior to the pandemic, the graduation rate was over 60%. And with this student population, which in 2019, we saw 57% of those students come into our program without a high school diploma or equivalency, almost 60%. We also see that this year, 20% of them, as I mentioned, came in homeless or from foster care. And so when you look at that population and see that actually, looking at pre-pandemic numbers, the graduation rate was over 60%. That's phenomenal and outpaces what would typically happen with the student population. The cost per student is also a number that, because of the year that was looked at, is incredibly inflated. During the first Trump administration, one of the administration's own reports showed the cost per student is actually $57,000 per student, which much below what you see at community colleges or equivalent institutions, considering we house those students 24 hours a day, we feed them 3 meals a day, we provide them with counseling and health care and resources and clothing that they otherwise wouldn't have. And so when we look at the cost per student and why it's inflated now, it's because, or in that report, is because, again, it looked right after the pandemic, after all of the students had been sent home. It was slow bringing them back. And the fact of the matter is, when you look at facilities like dorms and cafeterias, whether you have 5,000 students or 50,000 students, it costs the same amount to run those operations. And so clearly, when there were fewer students on campus, the cost per student was higher. So if you were to look at that same data this year or the year prior, you would see much different outcomes. It really is a matter of looking at the data in proper context.
Donna Hay, thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure.